Good morning and welcome to our Sabre Haircare Facebook page. My name is Duncan Richards and Education Manager for Sabre Haircare Australia and New Zealand. And today, we're going to be going through our Lumishine portfolio. So welcome guys, please ask any questions as things come through there and I'll endeavour to answer anything for you. Particularly this time, we think it's always really important to point out what we are doing to help our planet at the moment. And particularly when we look at our Lumishine and Joico brand, you'll notice that our packaging for both our Lumishine, our Blonde Life, our Vero K-Pack Color, and all of these products are made from 100% recycled fibre. The plastics, our Joico shampoos and various sprays use up to 25% post-consumer recyclable materials. And we also have a project called Wind in the Works, which is really about generating all the power required for the production of our Joico products in Geneva. So reducing further our carbon footprint on the planet, which is just so important. From there, a couple little highs. Hi to everybody out there once again, and again, feel free to ask any questions as they come through, and we'll endeavour to answer and bring them up on the screen there for you. So today, of course, is welcome to Lumishine. So this is really an introduction to the Lumishine range. Here on the screen, you will see we have here our our 5 pillars of Lumishine products. So we have our Lumi 10, which is the blue box you'll notice there on the top, our Lumishine Youth Lock, Lumishine Permanent, and of course our DD creams, and then the smaller bottles, which are of course our Lumishine Demi Liquids. I did have a question which has come through here, so I'll bring it up straight away because I think it's relevant to what we were just talking about, was what about animal testing? So with the animal testing, we do not conduct animal testing with any of our Joico products. With that, you will notice we also have the PETA sign, which is something that we also display our packaging and our marketing, which is really, again, that we are against that and we don't conduct any animal testing. So thank you for that question. I hope that covers that for us. So today we'd like to start with, what makes Lumishine different? What sets it apart? The key areas we particularly talk about are technology in repair of hair, as we're actually colouring, and technology in client comfort, which are just so important for the process when the client's sitting in the chair in your salon. So how do we work through this? What happens? On the left here, we have a normal hair shaft. On the right, we have a traditional ammoniated color. So when I say ammoniated color, it's a traditional hair color and how it works. What are the key things that happens in hair color? We apply it onto the hair and it opens the cuticle, and that's done through the use of ammonia in our hair color. In doing that, it penetrates the hair and it depletes the arginine inside the hair. This is one of our absolute key amino acids, and in working through with that process, arginine is the first of the amino acids that's actually depleted. So from here, our Argiplex technology, this is the great addition to the Lumishine range, and this is across the whole range. Lumi 10, Lumi Permanent, Youth Lock, etc. It is right across the range here. And Argiplex combines arginine and reduced ammonia, so we don't have as much in our actual tube of color, bottle, whatever it might be. So key things that's contained in the Argiplex. Number one, arginine. And we will run through each of these areas. It acts as a mild alkalizer, so it actually allows to help us get that swelling of the cuticle layer for penetration. It also acts as a dye stabilizer in the hair, so it's designed, it will actually help the actual pigment that penetrates in there stay in the hair. And it's also a reparative amino acid. On top of that, we have quadramine complex and our patented conditioning complex. So they're the three key areas of Argiplex which we're going to cover today. So looking at it from the view of it's an alkalizer, particularly arginine working as an alkalizer in the hair. This allows us to reduce the amount of ammonia, which of course is the active ingredient used in hair color. So if we look at, for example, let's say a traditional ammoniated color, difficult word to say that, on the left here, and then we compare it to our circle on the right, this is showing us that by the use of arginine, we are actually able to reduce that percentage of ammonia by up to 50%. So 50% less ammonia in the hair color means less damage to the hair, meaning healthier hair, longer lasting and more beautiful shiny hair color. Plus, of course, arginine is also going to be reparative for the hair. The other circle you'll see here in the middle here as well is MEA. Now, MEA is monoethanolamine. That is a different type of alkalizer that is used in hair color as well. The key thing we'll notice with MEA is that you need to use generally 3 times as much MEA in comparison to ammonia to get the same result. And also it comes in a solid form. So it must be shampooed from the hair. So just a couple of key things to be aware of with that ingredient. So acting as a dye stabilizer, working through. So as I mentioned, arginine actually helps to protect the color pigments, or as they actually penetrate into the interior of the hair shaft, and anchor them in the hair. With that, they also really, that ensures that those hair color dyes stay in there, they penetrate deeply into the cortex, and they remain in there for the life of your color. Just a couple of questions, which I will bring up in a moment there, guys. Just bear with me. I'll just touch on this other key area of arginine. The other key thing is we will notice if we started at a base level of 0 and I used a traditional hair color, that would, as you would see here, deplete, and you would end up with less arginine within your hair, less of that such important amino acid. When you use Lumishine, we are adding arginine to the hair. So if I started off at a 0 base level, I'm actually going to be replenishing and adding arginine into the hair, which is going to mean more healthy, shiny, reparative hair. Couple of questions there, or points that have come through. That's great to know about less ammonia in hair color. So yeah, I think it's a great point. Ammonia is important for us in hair color. It is still an absolutely key ingredient, but knowing that we can utilize arginine to reduce that and therefore, have less fragrance in the hair shaft, also, again, be reparative is a really great point for us. Also a question on how is Lumishine different to Vero K-Pack color? Great question, guys. They are certainly 2 very different colors. From a top line perspective, I will point out to start with, Vero K-Pack color is more of a pure toned color compared to Lumishine, which is a pre-mixed color line. By that, you will notice most of the ranges within and the color series within Lumishine have natural mixed with them, which means that you can immediately cover gray. You don't have to mix natural into your formula to actually, cover gray or add things to them. So that's one of the key differences. There are definitely differences from a technology point of view. Vero K-Pack color is, of course, water soluble, where we have Lumishine is shampoo soluble. So that just means we just need to wash it out with shampoo at the basin. And on top of that, we have different technology, and Lumishine sort of gives us that latest of the new technology. Thanks for the question. From here, other key ingredients, of course, quadramine complex. For that person asking about Vero K-Pack color, this is one thing that we do have in common with Lumishine and Vero K-Pack is that key ingredient of quadramine complex. This is putting back into the hair the protein that is missing or lacking from the hair. So it re-strengthens and replenishes protein. We know our hair is made up of 80% protein, so it's vital that we really repair and reconstruct that hair color as we're coloring. On top of that, we also have our patented conditioning complex. So with this is really to ensure at the end of the color process, it provides a protective shield to really lock that color into the hair shaft, give us that amazing shine that we know we always see with Lumishine. So working through with each of those, we have number one, arginine providing, less damage right at the beginning of the process. We have our quadramine complex and arginine reconstructing the hair. And then we have our patented conditioning complex doing the locking in of the hair color and providing that incredible shine. So that really rounds out that area. On top of that, though, we talked about client comfort. And what is really important, of course, is for our customer sitting in the chair. With this, we actually have an encapsulated or an ingredient which actually allows us to encapsulate airborne ammonia. So therefore, ammonia is neutralized as you're coloring. So rather than that, you have a very gentle, fresh fragrance technology. You don't notice that sort of chemical smell, which some colors will have. So it's really great for you as a colorist when you're coloring, as well as it's great for your customer or client sitting in the chair. So from here, Lumishine has been developed so that it is, easy for us to use, easy to be able to look at, okay, what color do I need to select? We can put our thoughts and processes into our creative placement or what we want to do, because it's just so simple to work with. So number one, we say easiest steps 1, 2, 3, and we'll put a 4 on there for this one. So firstly, a really clear and easy to read palette. Okay, very simple, and we'll be looking at that later. It works on a common level system. That common level system means, of course, 1 is your darkest of colors and 10 is your lightest blonde. From there, we work with letters and numbers. So whatever you're familiar with or whatever you prefer to work with, when you open up a shade guide, a box of Lumishine or a tube of color, you will find both the lettering and numbering system are both on there. And everything is a 1-to-1 mixing ratio. So it makes it really, really simple for you to work across that process there. Doesn't matter which range you're working with or which color, everything is at 1-to-1 mixing ratio. So here are those 5 pillars of color. So let me just really touch base with you on this. This is a great chart if you're sort of newer to Lumishine and you want to look at where do I use each of the different color categories. You can find this information on joico.com.au on our website. Go to professional hair color and you'll see this within all of our resource guides or technical manuals there. Just a quick question that's come up here, particularly when we're talking about mixing. So are the high lift mixed 1-to-1 too? Yes, absolutely they are. So with that, everything in Lumishine, doesn't matter if it's gray coverage, demi-liquids, high lift color, everything is a 1-to-1 mix. So it makes it really, really simple for you to know what you're mixing when you're in a hurry. Friday morning and you're flat out, everything is simple and easy to work with, everything 1-to-1. When we look across our 5 categories here, so to start with, guys, on the left, we have our Lumishine permanent range. Our Lumishine permanent range is mixed with 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume for your permanent colors. It can also be mixed with 5 volume to turn it into a demi-permanent deposit-only color as well. Timing ranges from 35 to 40 minutes, particularly if we're using anything from a normal range, that will be your normal processing time. Yeah, if you do go to a high lift, so that great question on the high lift earlier, this is the one area that timing changes with Lumishine, and timing for high lift is up to 60 minutes. So that's that one key area that changes. From there, we go into our Lumishine Youth Lock. Our Youth Lock is, of course, our range for aging hair. So with that, hair that maybe is grey, it started to get a little bit wiry or coarse, it changes texture. This is about not only covering grey, but replenishing that hair with all that nourishment and moisture it needs to make it feel youthful, young, shiny looking hair again. So that range, of course, everything is 100% grey coverage, and it's always mixed with 20 volume developer. Timing, 35 to 45 minutes. From there, we move to Lumi 10. Lumi 10 is the newest addition to the range as far as categories go. And of course, Lumi 10 is a 10-minute color. This is revolutionary. It's a game changer for you in the salon. So this allows you to do an application, get your color on, put your timer on, within 10 minutes, you're done, ready to rinse off. So game changer, you can really turn over clients quickly in the salon. You can have lunchtime, people come in for lunchtime hair colors, or be booking people in, later in the day. It has amazing gray coverage, and everything in the range covers hair 100%. Even for resistant gray coverage, this is really ideal. Please, guys, go to our YouTube channel for Sabre Haircare, or look back through our Sabre Haircare Facebook group and watch some of the tutorials that we've had on Lumi 10 before you jump in and use it. There's some great information there you want to be aware of. Next, then, we have our Lumi Demi Liquids. So our Demi Liquids are a deposit-only color, and they are mixed with 5-volume developer, Lumi developer. From there, timing with our Demi Liquids ranges from 5 to 35 minutes. So when we're working through with our Demi Liquids here, these give you a brilliant, translucent, reflective, super shiny color. They're great for using on their own, just for changing tonal quality, or they're excellent for color balancing when you've done, for example, a Lumishine Permanent, Youth Lock, or Lumi 10 on the regrowth, and you just want to refresh and add some gloss and shine to those ends. Excuse me. So working through from there, deposit only. Then their partner in crime, of course, is the Lumi DD creams. Okay, now DD creams are also a deposit only demi-permanent, and they are designed really to give you a more opaque, a more heavier deposited demi-permanent color. So working through the DD creams, these will also be mixed with 5-volume Lumi developer, and when you are using these, they will give you a stronger coverage of grey hair. They can give grey hair coverage on a level 5 or lower. They will provide grey hair blending on a level 6 and above. So again, a great opportunity. They're excellent for low lighting, excellent for root fades. So lots of different alternatives from there when using our DD creams or our demi liquids. Quick question there, guys, as well. So can you use Lumishine Permanent as a toner? Thank you for that question, guys. Yes, you certainly can. So if you're wanting just to tone pre-lightened hair, you can use any of your Lumishine Permanent tones with your 5-volume is your ideal developer because you're just really wanting to get deposit onto that hair. Working through with that, you can, of course, use those in that way. And I do find it's great to be using it in that way as well. There are a few different options. What I would say is with that one, talk to your regional educator on that, and they'll be able to give you not only some different options on what and how to use, but also some different toning formulas. So here you will see, guys, this is our Lumishine Color Wheel. So the key things I'd like to point out when we work through the color wheel here. In the middle of the color wheel, you'll notice it is a brown, neutral tone. Then you'll notice a second ring that comes out, which is out from the color wheel there, that second ring. It is more of a neutral or brown combined with a secondary or tertiary color. And then on the final outer ring of the color wheel, you will see here that they are more pure toned colors. So that's a key thing to remember when we look at the Lumishine color wheel to talk about when you're looking at mixing or utilizing colors. So in the very center of the color wheel is our natural. So our natural shades, our Ns or NNs sit in the very middle. In this second ring, you will notice here, these colors are, for example, NGs, NCs, so natural coppers, natural golds, natural warm beige, natural ash. They're a combination of colors of natural mixed with a secondary or tertiary tone. So that means immediately they will provide a percentage of gray coverage. On the outer ring, as I mentioned here, these are our pure toned colors. So you'll see here our Vs, our violets, our blue violets, our ashes or double ash, gold, warm coppers or coppers, our true reds. So these are those really true, intense, vibrant colors for adding vibrancy to red, copper, or violet, or really powerful neutralizing colors in the likes of our double ashes, our SBs or BAs, for example. So when working with those, of course, if you're wanting to utilize any of these more pure tone colors on the outside and you need to have gray coverage, this is where you would mix them with the shades on the interior here or with a natural right from the center of the color wheel. As mentioned before, Lumishine works on a 1 to 10 level system. So very simply, 1 is black and 10 is our lightest blonde. Whether we're using the numbering or lettering system, you will always see the level will be listed first on your box, tube, or on your shade guide there. So that will denote the level of color that you're working with to start with. Always, of course, utilize that guide to work with and identify the natural level of color that you're working on in the color processing, color selection. So let's move on to how that works in the lettering and letter and number system. So when we're looking at, for example, here we have a box of color, and our first letter will give us our dominant tone. So with that, first letter, dominant tone. Second letter will give us our secondary tone. Now, as I mentioned in the previous slide, the first thing that you will see on any box, tube of color will be the number. The number will give you your level. So in this case, we're working with a 6 level, okay? We would have N is our first letter. So our N is natural. So that's our dominant tone. And then our secondary, ash, is our secondary tone. So a dominant tone of natural, a secondary of ash. So working through here as well, you would also see this with the numbering system. So in this case, 6 represents our level. After the point, we have our 0, which is our dominant tone of natural. And then 1 represents ash, which is our secondary tone of ash. So easy for either area here. Guys, we do also have this as a reference chart, so you can actually see and look at all of the different tones that we actually have in the Lumishine range. So you can see lots of different options for color selection here. And all of these are listed with both, for example, their lettering system or their numbering system that represents them. So this is a great one sometimes if you like to have out in the back wall to actually see and represent all of the different color families and series that we represent. Mixing, timing, processing with Lumishine. As mentioned, guys, really, really simple when we want to talk mixing. We know all mixing is one-to-one mixing, even for our high lifts. So, very important for us to remember and work through. If I'm mixing my 5 volume, it's a no lift deposit only developer. I would mix it with, for example, my permanent, of course, my DD cream, or with my demi liquids. And my processing time would be 5 to 35 minutes, depending on your desired result and the customers, what you're trying to achieve with them. If you're working with some of these as a toner, for example, we have our new PVs, our new VG toners, for example. They are really quite powerful. So people are finding when they're using those, sometimes they might only want to leave them on for 5 to 15 minutes. A normal processing time for your demi liquids is normally usually around 20 minutes, but remember, for longer lasting or for more intense results, you can leave them on for up to 35. You can also, if you're using your demi liquids, they can be used with heat as well. Guys, again, I would ask you to refer back to your manual to get the information on that or speak to your local educator technician. A 10 volume will give us up to 1 level of lift, is mixed 1-to-1, of course, and processing time will be 35 minutes. That will be mixed with, of course, our permanent color, cream color. We then have 20 volume, which can be mixed with our Lumishine permanent cream color or our Youth Lock color. It will lift up to 2 levels, and timing will be 35 or up to 45 minutes for your resistant grey hair coverage. We have our 22 volume, which is, of course, unique and used only with our Lumi 10 color. Our Lumi 10 Accelerator is called, and it's a 22 volume. Do not use it with anything else, and do not use any other developer with your Lumi 10. It has the ability to lift up to 2 levels. And with that, timing, remember, is 10 minutes. Do not use heat. 30 volume, of course, will give us 3 levels or up to 3 levels of lift. It will be mixed with our permanent cream color in Lumishine, and we do not use heat, 35 minutes processing. And then, of course, top of the pops for maximum lift, 40 volume, will be mixed with, of course, again, our Lumishine permanent cream color. This can give us up to 4 levels of lift. Processing time is 35 minutes. It can extend out and will be up to 60 minutes when you're using with our XL shades. These are, of course, our high lift shades that you're mixing them with there. As I mentioned previously, this is our overview of the permanent color palette. So here you can see you have loads of options for color selection for your customers. Across the top of the page here, you will see all of the colors listed from naturals we begin with, and each of those moving from naturals to then our pre-mixed shades, which combine a natural with a secondary or tertiary. So our natural ashes, we get into our natural violets, natural warm beiges, etc. And then you can see some of the more pure tone colors here as we move to RRs or RRVs. Everything from here, guys, you will see this works in the tonal quality of color across the top and the levels from 1 to 10, okay, really across the side here. So you can match up and see what are the colors you have on a level 7, or what colors do you have on a level 9. Or you can work the other way and see what do I have in NVs and work back the other way. So this gives you a really nice snapshot of everything there. I will point out on the end of the guide here, all of your high lift, your XLs or extra lift shades are listed, of course, down the side here. These are not represented from a level point of view, so please disregard 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are all, of course, your extra lift shades from there. But, of course, they're represented as a permanent shade. Here we have our Lumi 10. Our Lumi 10, we actually contain natural ash, natural violet, natural warm beige, natural gold, natural copper, and we have also our natural blue ash, which is, again, the newer additions to the range here. So this is a range, guys, that's been really exciting. People are loving it out there, and I expect that we'll probably tend to see some more additions to this range here. So, look out for new things coming there. Our Youth Lock range, again, we have had some new additions to this range as well. So we now have our natural warm coppers as well. So our NNWCs have been added to the range. So again, really exciting with some new additions there. Again, these are a range or a category that continues to develop. So yeah, enjoy some of the new shades coming from there. On top of that, we then move to our DD creams, of which we have a natural ash, natural warm beige, and natural warm, along with our SBs, our silver blues. Now, working with here, you'll notice, because we use these mostly for deposit and for adding depth, low lighting, this is where you'll find, most of these shades within this range focus around that natural sort of area. So again, beautiful tonal qualities to be mixing with from there. And a range which we do have, and again, probably our most popular within the demi-liquids is, of course, or demi category, is the demi-liquids. And for this reason, of course, again, we do have, a more expansive range that you have to pick from here. Guys, I will point out we have some listed in the new category over here. So I've had some great feedback from our new VGs, our new violet golds, PVs, so the pearl violets, for example, and SBs are silver blues. So there are new categories. Toners are one thing that we always love to have options for creating, really unique toners, particularly depending on your underlying pigment. So it's been great to have some new categories that have come out in the range there. Once again, you can find this on the joico.com.au site, professional hair color, and you can check those out and get these reference guides. So if you wanted to have it just on your phone, you can have it there and save it, or you can actually, you know, maybe print it out and have it on your back wall in the salon if you prefer. This is something that just highlights really, guys, we sometimes get that question of where do I use the demi-liquids and where do I use DD creams? There is certainly a lot of crossover that you can use both categories in both key areas. But from here, low lighting, for example, ideally, this is where DD creams are really sort of an ideal area. From here, it does say too sheer for low lighting with working with our demi-liquids. I do have a lot of our team really do like that, or they like using the demi-liquid still, even for root shadows. So it's not something that you cannot do with a demi-liquid. You certainly can, but you do have a great option there with your DD creams as an option. Certainly working through with grey coverage is probably the one area that I would highlight. Of course, our demi-liquids don't provide grey coverage. They really are a blend for grey, not a coverage. DD cream, for those customers who want grey coverage and they don't want to go into permanent, that is where you've got a great option there. But certainly toning, guys, both are options for you. Grey blending, tint backs, glazing or refreshing, you know, all of these, you know, services are really great and can be used across both areas, whether you're using demi-liquids or your DD creams, demi creams. The key thing you will look to change is going to be your timing. Probably extend timing in areas where you're wanting to get you know, more grey coverage or those type of things. Use that 35 minutes. From here, talking grey coverage, of course, we go into, you know, that key area that we need to be aware of in the salon. This is a great area with Lumishine permanents and across the range that it makes grey coverage very simple. Number one, we'll always be using 20 volume develop for our grey coverage. Time will be 35 to 45 minutes. In the area, in the top area here, guys, this top box, it will actually show you that each of these categories of color or series of color, natural, natural ash, natural warm, or natural warm beige, all of those will give us 100% coverage of white or grey hair. So these are the categories of color that you can then add to other series when you need to get more coverage. So for example, any of the shades listed here, natural violet, natural gold, natural copper, or natural violet, they're going to be fine if you're working on hair that's up to 25% grey. You can use those on their own. But once you get to hair that's, for example, 50% grey, you need to add 25% or a quarter of your mix as one of those 4 shades from the top. So you must add natural ash, natural warm, or natural warm beige. You can use any of those as an addition. Again, if your client is really 50 or 100 up to 100% grey, then half of your formula must be one of those 4 base category shades. So again, very simple to work with. If you're working with the more pure tone shades listed here below, then we do need at 25% grey, we certainly do need to add some of those base shades, those four series colors, either N, natural ash, natural warm, or natural warm beige to it. At 50%, add 50% of your formula, and at 100% or 75 to 100% grey, add 75% of your formula must be added to the pure tone colors. Now, working through with that process, again, that will ensure you're always getting 100% coverage on that white or grey hair. Youth Lock, guys, of course, each of the shades in the Youth Lock range are designed to cover grey hair 100%. So it doesn't matter which family you choose or color series, everything will cover grey for you there. And of course, same with Lumi 10. Lumi 10, all shades are 100% coverage shades. You don't need to add natural into anything. It is already added in there. Use your accelerator, time 10 minutes, guys, and of course, you'll get that instant grey coverage. On top of that, DD creams, as mentioned previously, okay, levels 1 to 5, okay, will give us coverage of white. You get above a level 5, so a level 6 to 10, you will find it will give you grey blending in those areas. So be aware of that when you're working with your DD creams. Of course, they are mixed with 5 volume and extend your timing out. Our demi liquids are not designed to cover grey. They will simply give us a grey blend. So again, be aware if you want to get maximum blending, okay, of course, you do have that option of using heat, of which you could use a cap with for 20 minutes. And with that, once you've had the heat and cap on for 20 minutes, remove that plastic cap and allow it to cool for 15 minutes. That will give you your total 35 minutes processing, and it'll give you maximum deposit of color on that hair. Okay, of course, on removal of hair color and preparation of hair color, guys. For preparation, of course, we have our Defy Damage series, the Pro Series 1 and 2, which is ideal, particularly if you've got any porosity issues on hair. If you have any customers who maybe have any concerns with hair fading, if you've got, unevenness of color, you want to ensure you're going to get the best result, then of course, use your Pro Series 1, spray it onto the hair prior to your application, and then you would simply finish with your Defy Damage shampoo on removal and finish with your Pro Series 2. That will ensure maximum deposit of color, longest lasting color, and really beautiful even tone quality. Working along with that, guys, if you are not going to be using your Pro Series 1 and 2 in the Defy Damage in that preparation, then we do recommend for removal of Lumishine the K-Pack Color Therapy range. So with that, all removal for the whole Lumi range does require shampoo. So we would shampoo with our K-Pack Color Therapy, and ideally then we would finish by utilizing our K-Pack Color Therapy Luster Lock for 3 to 5 minutes on that removal. Once you've towel dried that hair, then I always like to give it a mist through with the K-Pack Color Therapy Multi-Perfector spray. It really, again, enhances that you're locking in that color. Use it just on the mid-lengths to ends, and make sure you spray prior to actual use. From there, guys, you will love that. Beautiful for detangling the hair and also adding an extra layer of protection. So guys, that really wraps up today's Lumishine intro. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've been able to take some things away from it there. Please share any further questions on our Sabre Facebook group there on the chat, and go on, check out our YouTube channel, Sabre Haircare, for going back over any past videos, technique videos, or product information. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.